you will understand the pertinence of the theme we're using today. We're talking about using social media in the fight against corruption. The panelists here we have chosen to invite today are experts in their field. They will try to give us the basic tools and the basic reflexes that you need to have to generate content on social media, and how to try to bring the subject of fighting corruption as a trending topic on Facebook and other forms of social media in Mauritius. So, to kickstart this workshop, our first speaker will be Dooshweena Awatar, who is a certified digital marketer. After graduating in political science, she fell into the digital communication world and currently oversees content creation and digital strategies at Kantar Indian Ocean, or Analysis Indian Ocean. Before working in social media and communication, she spent 2 years collaborating with Jean-Claude Delestrac on Ennemi Intime, a book about the political history of Mauritius. In 2017, a research paper she co-wrote on the role of social media during the 2014 general elections was published by the Journal of African Elections. She will be talking about social media and activism.
Good morning, everybody. How are you all? Good? Great. I'm Dooshweena, and I'll be talking to you about social media and activism today. But first, I'll tell you a little bit about how I first got to exploring this subject a few years ago. So, it all started in 2014. I was in my final year in university, and I had to write my dissertation. Back then, social media was being used for the very first time in an electoral context. There was, of course, the general election of 2014. So I chose to look at the role of social media during that particular election. I chose to analyze the online conversations surrounding this context, to look at what people were saying, at the quality of what was being said online. This was very important, assessing the quality. And let me tell you one thing, I was really shocked. I was really shocked by the nature of it. By the level of these comments. They were very petty in nature, and they seemed to be lacking in maturity. It simply seemed that those with interesting and intelligent things to say were simply not engaging. They were not discussing online, not engaging in those political debates, and they seemed to be shying away from online comments, from social media. And this led me to think about how this very powerful and free tool was being used for something so negative, when it could in fact be used for the complete opposite, to take a stance for things you believe in, for things that matters. So today, according to Data Reporter, there are around 850,000 internet users in Mauritius, and social media penetration is at 68%, with Facebook being the most used platform. As a side note, social media penetration is the number of active social media users versus the total population. So, what does this mean? What do these stats mean? To me, this translates to a pool of readily available news and information, different forms of content, but also the opportunity to share and learn from each other, especially meaningful and useful content. So, how does this impact the youth? How can they have a part to play in this? Today, when you think of youngsters and social media, you often think of selfies, taking outfit pictures for the gram, TikTok challenges, sharing memes, posting Facebook or Instagram stories, or WhatsApp status updates, basically to try to fit in, or maybe to seek the validation or the approval of your friends, or to just look normal. And there's nothing wrong with that. But social media can be used for so much more, and activism happens to be part of that. So, according to Hootsuite, social media activism is a form of protest or advocacy for a cause that uses social media channels. Because hashtags play a central role in mobilizing movements, The term is often used interchangeably with hashtag activism. But to me, for it to be actual activism, you also need concrete offline action. So I'll give you a few examples of social media activism around the world. First, you have the hashtag #MeToo movement to raise awareness against sexual harassment. This movement is also present in Mauritius. Last time I checked, they posted around early November, but they were still quite useful and helpful in bringing attention to important matters here in Mauritius. You also have the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement that actually exists in 2013, but picked up in popularity after the death, well, not the death, the murder of George Floyd in the US. You also have different examples of social media being the catalyst behind the fight for democracy around the world. You have the 2010 Red Shirts protest in Thailand, the Umbrella movement in Hong Kong in 2014, and the current ongoing protests there, and of course, the Arab Spring in early 2010. You also have the hashtag Fridays for Future movement, a global climate strike movement with an active presence here in Mauritius. Anybody knows about this, the Fridays for Future movement? Nope? Okay. So it first started when Greta Thunberg decided to lead climate strikes protest at school to stand up against global warming. It's a cause she believes in. And the cell here in Mauritius, the Fridays for Future cell in Mauritius, is actually very active. And they were even more so active around the Wakashio episode when the oil spill happened. So they even reached out to Greta herself, who posted about it online. I'll share a screenshot with you. She posted on her social media accounts. I think on Twitter as well, I didn't check, but I checked on Facebook and Instagram, and this is a screenshot of the Instagram post. Just this post got over 730,000 likes, and many more people saw it. Do you realize how important this tool is? How you can use this to rally people for a cause you believe in? Basically, all these different examples of social media and activism to show you that it's using digital channels to speak up, to voice out, to exchange, and contribute to intelligent and meaningful debates for a good cause. So, how exactly can you use social media in the fight against corruption? To do so, I think you first need to be able to understand and recognize different forms of corruption. You have bribery, which is using money or gifts to get out of a situation or to influence someone's actions. You have nepotism, which is giving jobs to friends or family. You have influence peddling, which is giving something to someone who has influence on the decision-making of a public official. And then you have extortion, which is obtaining something for threats. All of these are different forms of corruption that you might already have encountered in your life, or that you probably will come across somewhere down the line. So it's important to understand it, to be able to recognize it and voice out. So how can the two of them come together? How can social media and the fight against corruption come together as one? Well, without engaging in the spread of false information, because that's really bad, you can start small. Start by commenting in a meaningful way on social media pages of news groups, for example, on posts about important subjects, or posts that appeal to you. Write your own posts on current topics on your own personal Facebook profiles or Instagram accounts to voice out your opinions. It could be for a meme, a short video, or Facebook story or Instagram story. Are you scared of being judged online, of your friends seeing your public post or comments? Well, use private messages or chats. Network, organize, educate, exchange, share news on corruption matters, discuss, teach others how to identify different forms of corruption and encourage them to talk about it. And lastly, take ownership of things you believe in. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I listen to this girl? Why should I be doing this? How will this help me? Well, you've been told, we all need to start somewhere. And sometimes the tiniest contribution helps. The world, unfortunately, is outside of our bubble. And let me tell you, it's not always pretty out there. So let us all do the best we can to contribute in a positive way. That's it for me. Thank you.